In 1848, a railroad explosion drove an iron rod through Phineas Gage's skull. He survived, but his personality transformed from calm and reliable to impulsive and erratic. This single case study became one of the most cited findings in the history of neuroscience, teaching us that the frontal lobe governs personality and impulse control. No experiment could ethically replicate this. Sometimes rare, uncontrolled events teach us more than any controlled trial ever could. The case study method involves in-depth examination of a single individual, group, or event, often over an extended period. Case studies are indispensable for studying rare conditions, unusual brain damage, or unique life circumstances that would be unethical or impossible to create experimentally. Phineas Gage, HM's amnesia following hippocampal removal, and Jeannie the feral child all advance psychological science precisely because their circumstances could never be manufactured in a lab. Case studies generate hypotheses and reveal phenomena that structured experiments might never anticipate. Despite their value, case studies have serious limitations. A single individual's experience may reflect unique, idiosyncratic factors that do not generalize to the broader population. External validity is inherently limited. Researcher bias is a serious concern. Investigators studying a single compelling case may unconsciously interpret ambiguous behavior in ways that confirm their theoretical expectations. Case studies cannot establish causation, since there is no comparison or control condition. They are best used to generate hypotheses for later testing with more rigorous, generalizable methods. Naturalistic observation involves observing and recording behavior in real-world settings as it naturally occurs, without any experimental manipulation or intervention. Jane Goodall's decades of observing wild chimpanzees revolutionized our understanding of primates' social behavior and tool use precisely because she recorded natural behavior rather than behavior induced in a laboratory. The core strength is ecological validity. Behavior recorded in its natural context is more likely to reflect how organisms actually behave outside the artificial constraints of an experimental setting. A central challenge of naturalistic observation is the observer effect, the tendency for people and animals to change their behavior when they know they are being watched. This is closely related to reactivity, where the very act of observation influences what is being measured. Researchers address this through habituation periods that let subjects grow accustomed to an observer's presence. Unobtrusive observation techniques, including one-way mirrors or remote cameras, and inter-observer reliability checks, where multiple observers independently code the same behavior to confirm consistency. Qualitative research methods, including case studies, naturalistic observation, and open-ended interviews, aim to produce rich, detailed, contextual understanding of psychological phenomena, often capturing complexity that numbers alone cannot convey. Quantitative research methods, experiments, surveys with numerical scales, and correlational studies aim to produce measurable, generalizable, statistically testable findings. Neither tradition is inherently superior. They answer different kinds of questions. Increasingly, psychology uses mixed methods designs that combine both approaches to capture depth and breadth simultaneously. Qualitative data is not analyzed impressionistically. Rigorous systematic methods exist. Thematic analysis involves coding interview transcripts or observational notes to identify recurring patterns and themes across the data. Grounded theory builds explanatory theories directly from the data itself, rather than testing a theory determined in advance. These methods include systematic procedures for establishing reliability, such as having multiple independent coders and calculating inter-rater agreement, which lends qualitative research the same kind of rigor associated with quantitative statistics. Case studies and naturalistic observation remind us that psychology's most important insights do not always come from controlled experiments. Sometimes a single extraordinary case, or the patient recording of ordinary behavior in its natural context, reveals more about the human mind than 1,000 tightly controlled trials ever could.